everyone, welcome to my channel. I am so grateful that you are here. My name is Nikki, and I channel messages from film using tarot and oracle cards, and I am excited and honored to be doing a reading for you today. For this video, we will be doing a pick a card reading around films that involve womanizers. Womanizing is a very deeply entrenched karmic pattern shadow aspect on planet Earth. And I am being called to help bring awareness to this, to help bring awareness to what it looks like, to know if you're actually dealing with a womanizer or not. But also, there are a lot of messages coming through in the collective where there are people who have resorted to being a womanizer in the past, but are ready to heal this shadow aspect within themselves. So there's a lot of different dynamics that I channeled while I was watching the 3 films for this video. And I really set the intention to help heal masculine energy in this way, along with feminine energy, because it does impact both. And this is something that I actually know quite a lot about, as I was in a casual relationship with a player slash womanizer for about 6 years. And it was one of the most painful things that I ever went through. So it's something that I've had to look at, something I'm still working through, something I'm still looking at, forgiving myself for, and also forgiving the person I was in a relationship with, the casual relationship with, and just something that I would like to help bring healing to at this time. So if this is something that you resonate with, then hopefully there are some messages in here that may help you. So how the reading will work: in the next part of the video, you will see 3 different piles. Each pile represents a different film featuring a womanizer. Meditate on the pile that is speaking to you. There will also be a different color angel crystal on top of the piles, so that may help influence your decision as well. Just meditate on the pile that's speaking to you, and I will put the timestamps down below for your reference. Also, a lot of general messages come through these readings, so if any part of a message does not resonate, just know that message is not for you. Only take what resonates and leave what does not. Let's jump into some channeled messages from some films featuring players slash womanizers. Hello to everyone who chose pile number 1. The crystal that was on top of your pile was a white angel crystal. So with the color white, what is coming through very strongly right now is there is a lot of light being shined on your current situation right now. I'm picking up on a lot of energy of dealing with someone who is in and out of your life a lot, but also is not very honest. And it's like this floodgate of light is opening, and you're beginning to have the awareness of the truth about this situation. This could also be you personally coming to a realization about some dark truths about yourself. And that pairs very nicely with the film that goes along with your pile number 1. You chose the film Spread from 2009, directed by David Mackenzie, starring Ashton Kutcher, Anne Heche, and Margarita Laviva. The film follows Nikki, played by Ashton Kutcher, who is a womanizer in this film. It's very apparent from the very beginning. His internal dialogue is very vulgar towards women. He's actually homeless, but he's very suave. He dresses very nice, and it's because he knows how to charm women. And as the story goes on, you really see who he is. You see how the women relate to him in the film, and you also learn that karma sometimes has a way of coming back around. So, before we jump into your cards, just want to give a little disclaimer here that sometimes spoilers come through the reading. So, if you have not seen the movie Spread, just be mindful of that because sometimes spoilers do affect the reading and they come through very strongly. All right. So, the cards for your reading are the Ten of Wands, the High Priestess, Seven of Cups, the Lovers, when I'm connected to my joyful presence, I attract support from the universe. Joy is the ultimate creator. I am the loving energy of the universe. True healing occurs when I give myself permission to feel whatever feelings live below the triggers. And your final card is, when I think I've surrendered, I surrender more. Okay, pile number one. So, starting with the Ten of Wands, I am picking up on a lot of energy of feeling overwhelmed with a situation, a relationship in your life. Since this reading is all about womanizers, I feel like a lot of you are seeing somebody who actually comes and stays with you from time to time and doesn't really contribute much to the household, is what I'm seeing. And I'm picking up on a lot of feeling overwhelmed, feeling like you've spoken your piece, but you don't feel like you're being heard. And what I'm seeing from the film is Anne Heche's character, Samantha, from the film Spread. So in the very beginning of the film, Nicky, played by Ashton Kutcher, he gets all dressed up and he goes on the prowl, like the womanizer that he is, right? And he goes to this club, and you can see he's just he's stalking out his prey. And he locks eyes with Anne Heche across the room, and he just has that notion that she is exactly what he is looking for. And he makes a beeline straight for her, and at first she kind of plays coy with him, but he has a way of talking to her that is so suave and so magnetic with his charisma that he just reels her in. She takes him back to her place and they start having a relationship together, a casual relationship together. And she lets him actually move into her house with him or with her, and he doesn't contribute anything. While she is working, like she lives in this very nice house, like she is a self made woman, she works hard for her money, and she's very well established. And she has this like really ritzy, luxurious house. and he just stays there all day. But while she's at work, he will invite women over and sleep with them all over the house while she is at work, basically paying his way to live in her house. So I'm picking up on vibes like this for some of you. A similar relationship where somebody is not pulling their weight, is not meeting you halfway, is lying about things, very similar to Ashton Kutcher's character. And I can feel that energetically it is taking a toll on you. Like it's like feeling like depleted. And this could also have been something that you experienced in the past, and it's just now starting to come twofold into your mind. You're starting to have the awareness about it because the card that is next to this 10 of Wands is the High Priestess. This is intuition kicking in. And this is also what happens in the film. Anne Heche actually comes home from work. Her name in the film is Samantha. She comes home from work and she finds Ashton Kutcher with a woman in her home. And the girl goes home and she starts like screaming at him. And even though she caught him, she still decides to let him stay in the house. She still continues to have this relationship with him where she obviously wants more out of it, and he is not able to give that to her because he doesn't genuinely love her. She is in love with him, and they have a very passionate, intimate relationship that it's broadcast in the movie like twofold. And she just continuously lets him use her in the film. But her intuition kicks in. After that moment happened where she caught him, she starts to put her foot down. So I feel like this is something that is starting to happen for you. You're starting to put your foot down here. Your intuition is kicking in. You're starting to see things as they really are. And Spirit is saying to trust your intuition. It is not lying to you. Because once Samantha, played by Anne Heche in the film, puts her foot down in the film, she gets to the point where she kicks him out and she says, "Don't come back." Even though you can see that it hurts her to do that because she does genuinely love him. And he just doesn't feel that way about her. He was shamelessly using her. And it was literally breaking her heart. And it was pretty difficult to watch her continuously take him back, even though she knew that he wasn't going to give her what she needed and what she wanted out of a relationship. So Spirit is saying if you're in a situation like this, to pay attention to the red flags. If you have caught this person doing things in your house, that is a big red flag, okay? And that is a sign that this person does not value you, all right? But also, if you're in a place where this is something you've already recognized and now you're in that place of healing, that it's time to forgive yourself for not knowing what you know now, right? Because on our journey, we're always at different places of consciousness. And when it comes to the womanizing shadow aspect, it is one of the biggest shadow aspects that we learn self-love from. Some of us chose to learn to truly love ourselves by experiencing what it was like not to love ourselves. Because when you have that polarity between the two, you can take your power back when you realize what true self-love really is, recognizing that these people who have that, tendency to play people, to be dishonest in that way, it really helps you fine-tune your intuition. And Spirit is saying that your intuition has always served you well. It's just important to listen to it because our intuition is speaking to us even in the moments where we don't listen to it. It's always there. It's always guiding us. Even when I was going through my situation, I saw all the red flags and I chose to ignore them. And there was nobody who could tell me what I was going to do and what I wasn't going to do. I did what I wanted to do, and there were some hard lessons in that. The next card in your reading is the Seven of Cups. So I'm seeing that whoever this person is that you're dealing with, they juggle a lot of different options. This is somebody who doesn't want to commit to anyone. And I'm being shown specifically how when Ashton Kutcher, his name is Nicky in the film, is staying in Samantha's house, he continuously invites all of these women over to Anne Heche's house and sleeps with them all over the house. There's one girl where there's a bathroom scene, there's a pool scene, there's a bedroom scene. It basically shows how disrespectful he is to the woman that is letting him stay in her home. And she legitimately thinks that they're in a relationship, and behind the scenes he's not doing that. And it also like goes through his internal dialogue. He speaks very vulgar about women. He's very disrespectful. He's vulgar in the things that he says. He just does not care. He's very selfish. And he it's a narcissistic personality, like exposed for all to see. So when it comes to a player or womanizer, they typically have a lot of other options that they are juggling. And Spirit is saying that if you are feeling this way, or if this is something that you're healing from right now, to listen to your intuition, because it's very on point. And it's leading to some very beautiful things, though, this healing that you're doing, this forgiving that you're doing. I actually had a dream where I sat down with the guy who I had this situation with. And in the dream, I actually said to him, I forgive you for the collective. And yeah, it's a painful one. It's a painful cycle, but it really does teach us about self-love in a very impactful way. So the next card in your reading is the Lovers. And Spirit is showing me when you are able to truly let go of what no longer serves you, this is what will come in. A beautiful relationship, a balanced relationship, working on self-concept, because when we truly love and value ourselves, we will manifest that true love into our lives, because it's a reflection of the love we're having for ourselves. And when we show the universe we're not messing around, when we show the universe that we listen to our feelings and our emotions, and we can let go of people who do not value us, the universe will send you somebody who does. And I'm actually being shown the scene in the film where Ashton Kutcher's character, he is somebody who got bored very easily. And he was also very hurt, because hurt people hurt people. And in the film, he wasn't experiencing joy with these women. He was just using them shamelessly for sex, right? Because the next two cards in your reading we have, when I am connected to my joyful presence, I attract support from the universe. And also, joy is the ultimate creator. So when we focus on things that actually bring us joy, we will attract support from the universe. We will attract joyful experiences. You will attract a joyful relationship. So because Ashton Kutcher's character in the film, he put out a lot of bad karma into the world because of how he was treating all these women. So he meets his match. He meets this waitress named Heather at this restaurant, this little cafe. And from the very get-go, he's taken in by her. And come to find out that she is a player just like he is. And he falls hard for her. And she actually falls for him too. And they manifested a joyful relationship based off of allowing themselves to be vulnerable with each other. But because of how he treated all of the other women in the film, it doesn't really work out for him in the end. So that is a spoiler. Karma is like that. And when a player has treated so many people in so many hurtful ways, sometimes their karma is to manifest something in that does bring them joy, only to have it taken away because of how they treated other people. Because what we put out, we get back. So that's why it's always important to be honest and upfront with people in relationships, and to never pursue something unless both people are on the same page and that level of joy is there with both people, and mutual respect and understanding. So if you are wanting to manifest the love of your life right now, some of you have some karmic shadow aspects to look at within yourself, but Spirit is saying to remember that joy is the ultimate creator. So if you're in a relationship with someone who exhibits the signs of being a player, being a womanizer, are you left at the end of the day feeling sad, feeling depleted, feeling overwhelmed, feeling used? Because those are not traits of joy. And because our feelings, our thoughts, our emotions are the secret to creating the reality that we want, if joy is not part of that, then a joyful relationship will not manifest. So are you ready to let go of what no longer serves to create what you truly deserve? Pile number one. Because Spirit wants you to remember that you are the loving energy of the universe. And the more healing that you do on yourself, the more you help heal the collective, the more you help heal planet Earth, the more you help heal these deeply entrenched shadow aspects, the more you forgive yourself, the more you forgive others. You are the loving energy of the universe, because we all are. We are all connected. We are all one. All right? The next card here says, true healing occurs when I give myself permission to feel whatever feelings live below the triggers. So I'm being shown the scene in Spread with Ashton Kutcher after he meets his match with Heather, right? This girl completely does a 180 on him. He falls for her, and she basically plays him just like he has played all of the other women in the film. And after he meets her, karma turns around on him. This is when Anne Heche kicks him out of her house. He attempts to go to another girl's house that he was seeing as a booty call, and she tells him straight to his face that he is nothing and that she wants nothing to do with him. Like, karma literally flips on him in the film. And he starts this downward spiral where he starts to really see himself for who he is. And he starts to get triggered when other guys are treating women poorly. He goes to a strip club with one of his friends, and there's another guy that's sitting like close by, and that guy starts to ridicule the dancer that's up on the stage. And Ashton Kutcher, he gets very angry and he goes, "Why are you talking about her like that?" And it's just like this complete 180 shift from the beginning of the film, where he was exactly like that guy who was ridiculing the woman on the stage to begin with. So he starts to get triggered. He starts to get triggered because he is now seeing that toxic pattern, and he begins to heal. All because one gal came into his life, shook things up, and then everything turned on him. And that's how karma works. So there could be a lot of players in the collective right now. And player, womanizer, those are labels. That is not who these people really are. That's not the truth of who they are. We are actually all love. We all chose to experience different things when we came here. Some chose to be the villain, some chose to be the person who had to experience the villain, right? So player, womanizer, that is a label. So, but for purposes of this film, that is the shadow aspect that we are talking about. And right now, players, womanizers, and regardless of gender, a player can be either a man or woman or however anyone identifies, right? It doesn't matter. A player can hurt a person the same as anybody could, right? But Ashton Kutcher starts to really see himself in this film, and he starts to get triggered. So I feel like this is something that is happening. So if you have wondered if the karma is flipping on the person that hurt you, it will, because if we put negative energy out, if we hurt people, that will come back in some way because the karma has to be balanced. And it's very important that we also understand anybody who has resorted to the player womanizer pattern, while it's very hurtful and very painful, it's important for us to not hold on to that pain. We have to process that anger. We have to process the pain. We have to process the sadness. And hopefully get to a place of forgiveness, because holding on to that is not worth it. So a lot of triggers are coming up from situations like this to help bring healing all around to everyone who has experienced this shadow aspect. And the last card in your reading is, when I think I've surrendered, I surrender more. So yeah, Spirit is saying to surrender to the healing, to surrender to what is going on in your reality right now, knowing that we cannot control what other people do. We cannot force people to be in a relationship with us. All we can do is work on our self-concept and respond accordingly to what comes up in our reality. So it's time to surrender. Surrender to your healing, surrender to what is happening in your reality. If somebody wants to go, let them go, but also make sure that you are setting boundaries if you are feeling overwhelmed by a situation, and make sure that you're listening to your intuition, especially if you feel like someone has a lot of options that they're juggling. And also listen to your intuition in terms of what brings you the most joy. So surrender is key here. Surrender to it all. And if you think that you have surrendered, Spirit is saying surrender even more. So that is all that I am seeing, pile number one. Those are your channel messages from the 2009 film Spread. If your reading resonated, drop a comment down below and let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I will see you on the next one. Bye. Hello to everyone who chose pile number 2. The angel crystal that was sitting on top of your pile is the color pink. So with this crystal, I am feeling a lot of divine feminine energy that is helping to heal masculine energy with forgiveness, really transcending this player womanizing pattern by showing what love truly is, showing what unconditional love is. And this is very well epitomized in the film that goes with your cards, which is the 1992 movie Boomerang, directed by Reginald Hudlin, starring Eddie Murphy and Halle Berry. This film follows Marcus, who is played by Eddie Murphy. He is a womanizer, and this is very apparent in the beginning of the film. He will date women, and he's very picky. He's so picky that he will look at their feet after a night of being intimate with them, and if they've got like rank feet, he is out. He is very, very picky in terms of who he likes to date with, or who he likes to date, and he's also he lies to get women to go on dates with him. And eventually, he meets some very strong women that kind of shake up his world and his player pattern. So let's see what your cards are, pile number 2. We have King of Pentacles in reverse, Seven of Swords, Six of Wands in reverse, Seven of Wands, I witness the darkness and call on the light with my prayer. Thank you, universe, for guiding me to perceive this fear through the eyes of the teacher of love. I am a spirit having a human experience, and I'm here to get closer to love. Oneness is my true nature. And your last card. Through prayer and meditation, I create a ripple effect of peace in the world. Also, before we dive into the reading here, pile number 2, sometimes spoilers come through the messages. So if you have not seen the film Boomerang, just be mindful of that if you don't want to have anything spoiled for you. So let's begin here. We have the King of Pentacles in reverse. And I am being shown Eddie Murphy's character 100% with this card. This represents a masculine energy, regardless of gender, who does not see his own value and is also really greedy, really all about money and what that can do for him in his life. In the film Boomerang, Marcus, played by Eddie Murphy, he is a very successful advertising executive. He has a very nice place, very nice things, and he dates a lot of women, but basically uses them for personal gain. He shamelessly uses them. And in the beginning of the film, he actually lies to get a girl to go on a date with him. And that's why we have Seven of Swords. One of the biggest traits of a player slash womanizer is that of lying. And in the very beginning, he sees this woman outside who is walking her dog. And he goes up to her and he pretends to be looking for his dog, which he doesn't have a dog. He lies to her to get her to go on a date with him. And this is one of the traits of what players do. They will lie shamelessly to get whatever it is that they want. And this is because of this King of Pentacles in reverse energy. Anybody who resorts to that type of behavior doesn't truly love themselves. They don't see their true value. And this is very apparent as the film goes on. Whereas in the beginning of the film, Marcus is hurting women, the player gets played later on in the film, which some of the other cards here will get into that. But yeah, King of Pentacles, Spirit is showing me there is a masculine energy in regards to this reading, either someone you know, or this could be something that you personally are working on with your own self-concept. Perhaps you are working on healing that pattern within yourself by becoming aware of it. And the King of Pentacles is just somebody who is all about greed, who is all about not caring if they hurt people in order to get what they want. And it all stems because they don't personally love themselves. They don't see their own value. and hurt people, and they also lie and deceive to get what they want. So there are some energies around you like this right now, or this is something that you're experiencing in terms of finally seeing or working through healing in some way. And karma is taking place here very, very strongly. Like, there are a lot of people setting boundaries with this type of behavior on this reading, I can feel, because with the Six of Wands in reverse, what happens in the film? Marcus, Eddie Murphy's character, he meets the beautiful Jackie, played by Robin Givens. And she's basically the female version of him. And he invites her over to his house. He thinks he has everything all squared away with her. And she's like, he makes her a nice dinner. And she's sitting there eating. She's like, there's a basketball game on. Can we go in the other room and watch that? And he's like, okay. So they go into the other room and she watches the basketball game. And he's just sitting there like, well, this is fun because it didn't pan out the way that he wanted. And at the end of the night, she's like, well, that was fun. That was a really good game, Marcus. Talk to you later, you know. So he basically gets a taste of his own medicine. And they do begin an intimate relationship with each other. But after they start sleeping with each other, she starts, because they work together, how he met her was at the advertising place where they work. And she basically becomes his boss. Anyway, after they begin an intimate relationship with each other, she starts telling the whole office intimate details about their personal nights together. There's a lot of gossip that goes on and public shame, which comes with the Six of Wands energy. So I'm picking up on an energy of karma being reversed here, having dealt with some public shame, or also some people kind of taking revenge by publicly shaming someone that may have hurt them. And Spirit is saying that hurting other people, while, you know, we have free will, that is very well a choice that some people may take to resort to. But one of the best things that we can do in circumstances with, you know, this King of Pentacles in reverse energy is to 100% make sure we are setting boundaries. And that is what the Seven of Wands is stating here. To set healthy boundaries with people, to put your foot down, to express what you are okay with, express what you are not okay with. And I'm actually being shown Halle Berry's character, Angela. So Angela starts working at the advertising firm with Marcus and Jackie. And from the very beginning, her and Marcus have a connection. And it flows. It's easy. And after Marcus gets put through the ringer with Jackie, he actually begins a relationship with Halle Berry's character, Angela. And what happens is he ends up cheating on Angela and really hurting her. But from the get-go, she actually has very strong boundaries. She doesn't put up with his shit. From the moment he cheated on her, she said, "Get out. I don't want you here." She didn't keep, you know, the game of returning to him. You know, what typically with a player womanizing pattern, people keep returning, keep going back. No boundaries are set. But in this film, Angela does set boundaries with him. And ultimately, she teaches him what true love is. So I do pick up on some divine feminine energy being a teacher for the masculine energy in this way, on this pile. And some of you may have very strong missions to do this. I'm also picking up on twin flame dynamics as well, with a lot of those dynamics, oftentimes the masculine does have a pattern of being a player, of being a womanizer, and this is due to very deep wounds. And then the divine feminine comes in and is the teacher in that way, has unconditional love for him, doesn't judge him, holds space for him, but also has boundaries with him, doesn't take shit, and makes that clear from the very beginning. And that is what Angela does in this film. And that's why we have, I witness the darkness and call on the light with my prayer. Thank you, universe, for guiding me to perceive this sphere through the eyes of the teacher of love. And that is what Angela is in this film to Marcus. She is his divine feminine teacher of love. And she literally teaches an art class for children. And she has Marcus come with her. And he interacts with the children. He has a good time. She literally is a light that comes in while he is, being triggered and is going through that wounding. And she is the one who teaches him what true love is. And Jackie, the one who's a player just like him, she's the female player, she's teaching him love too, but she's teaching him what love is not. So Angela is firm in her boundaries, and she is that unconditional divine feminine love for the divine masculine. So it's like I'm getting energy that Angela is the divine feminine twin flame and Marcus is the divine masculine twin flame, is what it feels like. Or this could be a soulmate connection as well. And those are just labels, but those are the energies that were coming up, so I wanted to relay that in case it did resonate with you. The next card is, I am a spirit having a human experience and I'm here to get closer to love. So yeah, all of these difficult things, whether you are the King of Pentacles here, or if you're someone dealing with that King of Pentacles, having to set those boundaries, both the masculine and the feminine are here to get closer to love. We chose what we were going to experience, and sometimes we choose what is not love to teach us what really is love. And that is what happens. Marcus, he hurts all these people, and then he meets the female version of himself. He gets hurt by her, and then he makes a mistake and he actually hurts his true twin, his true soulmate, and she doesn't take his crap. And it's just all this consciousness coming back to love. It was all serving a purpose for the greater good, to get closer to love. So whatever you're going through right now, whatever it looks like for you, your soul chose it before you came here, and it was all serving the purpose of returning to unconditional love. And it's also remembering that oneness is our true nature. There is no separation, but we choose to experience separation so that we can return to that love, so that we can remember that we are one. So that was also why, with my experience that I had, I was in a casual relationship for 6 years with, I guess you could call him a player. And, those are labels. But it was a very painful time in my life. But in a dream I actually said to him in a dream, I forgive you for the collective. In a dream, while we were sitting down at this table in this very vivid dream that I had. So after I had that dream, this is what I was reminded of, that we are actually one with each other. Even the most difficult people in the world, all of us are one. We're all experiencing different scenarios through oneness. So remembering that oneness is our true nature can also bring us back to that love, can bring us back to compassion. And I'm actually seeing this scene in Boomerang where Angela, she creates a piece of artwork. As I'm drawn to all the colors, like the artwork on this card here, she paints a photo of her and Marcus, but it's like their shadow essence, and they're entwined with each other like they just made love with one another. And that photo was epitomizing how they had become one when they were intimate with each other, when they were expressing love to each other in that film. And it was an expression of her love to him and how she truly saw them in their relationship. So, oneness is our true nature. And if we can look upon things in that way, it definitely does shift our perception and perspective. And the last card is through prayer and meditation, I create a ripple effect of peace in the world. So, with this card, I'm actually drawn to the title of the film, Boomerang. What does a boomerang do? When you throw a boomerang, it comes back to you. And that is a metaphor for karma. So, on this card, it says, through prayer and meditation, I create a ripple effect of peace in the world. So, the boomerang here is the prayer and meditation. When we throw a boomerang out of peace and meditation and positivity, that good karma returns to us. If we throw a boomerang out with, the shadow traits of what Marcus does in this film, of, being a player, of hurting people, that will return. And it does return. He gets the female version of himself through Robin Givens' character. So Spirit is saying to remember the boomerang, to remember karma, to remember that what you put out, we will get back. So what kind of energy do you want to continue to put out into the world? I'm also hearing one of forgiveness, throwing a boomerang of forgiveness out there. But I will say this, when it comes to forgiveness, the emotions behind that must be processed first. Because if we don't process the emotions, they will just stay in the body. And it's like you're saying, I forgive you, without processing it, and then wondering why you still feel the same way. The emotions have to be felt. We can't continue to hold on to the pain and then expect ourselves to be able to forgive. So, through prayer and meditation, I create a ripple effect of peace in the world. So, the boomerang of positivity and unconditional love will create that ripple effect that you desire, pile number 2. That is all that I am seeing for pile number 2 here. If your reading resonated, drop a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. And I will see you on the next video. Bye. Hello to everyone who chose pile number 3. The angel crystal that was sitting on top of your pile was purple. So with this crystal, I'm feeling a lot of divine energy coming through crown chakra, getting downloads, but also from having done a lot of healing in terms of the player womanizer pattern. So I'm actually picking up on a lot of energy from light workers who chose in the 3D to be that villain, to be that player, to be that womanizer for purposes of helping to heal that in their ancestral lineage, but having to go through it in order to integrate it and be able to bring healing once and for all. And I see there's been a lot of difficulty with this. And I'm also feeling that this could be someone that you personally are dating, like a divine feminine energy who's helping their divine masculine heal right now. So this pairs very nicely with your film for pile number 3 here, the 1999 film Cruel Intentions, directed by Roger Kumble, starring Ryan Phillippe, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Reese Witherspoon. In this film, Sebastian, played by Ryan Phillippe, is a womanizer. He's a player, and he's very, very cruel, just like the title of the film states. He shamelessly hurts people because it makes him feel powerful. But what's very interesting, in the beginning of the film, he is actually seeing a therapist. So from the very beginning, you get this sense that he wants help with this, but he's just not manifesting the right people to help him do this. And his stepsister, Catherine, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar, does not help the situation at all. So he eventually meets Reese Witherspoon's character, Annette, and she's the one that kind of changes things. She's his divine feminine that kind of shakes up his world. And what happens in the film is very interesting. So let's jump into your cards here. But before we do, I just want to state that sometimes spoilers come out in the messages. So if you have not seen Cruel Intentions, just be mindful of that as we're going through the reading here. All right. We have Temperance. The Emperor. Queen of Cups. Ten of Cups in reverse. The key to prayer is to forget what I think I need. There is nothing sexier than my authentic truth. In any moment, I can surrender to the powerful presence of love through prayer, contemplation, and stillness. I recognize that I have chosen fear, and I choose again. I choose love. All right, pile number 3. So with Temperance, what I'm feeling very strongly is a balancing of masculine and feminine energy. And this is what Sebastian craves in the film Cruel Intentions. He wants balance. He doesn't want to keep doing these cruel things to people. In the very beginning of the film, he is actually speaking to a therapist. That's the very opening scene. And because he hadn't got to the root core of his emotions, of his feelings, his therapist was not bringing this out of him. She was just concerned with getting paid, and she was overcharging him, which he states in the film after that scene. And because she wasn't really helping him, he actually preys on her daughter and just makes things even worse for himself and for them. So I'm picking up on a strong sense of restoring masculine and feminine energy within yourself at this time. And in the process, these core wounds coming to the surface. And it's this energy of, I don't want to hold on to this pain anymore. I want this to legit be balanced, but it's also like this energy of, who are the people that can help me with this? I don't feel like I'm legit being helped. So I am picking up on an energy of also speaking with a therapist, but maybe feeling like it's not the right fit, just like Sebastian was doing, not getting to the core root of what is really going on. Whoever this is, it's not a person who is able to help you feel into the pain. And I'm hearing that opting for maybe a more holistic or a more spiritual type of mental health professional would be beneficial. Someone who can tap into meditative practices, somebody that you genuinely feel is a good fit for you, setting the intention with that so that you can move in that direction so somebody can help you balance that within yourself. Now, I do see that there are a lot of things you are doing on your own that are helping, because right next to the Temperance card is we have the Emperor here. This is very strong energy of taking control of whatever is going on in your life. And that's definitely what Sebastian epitomizes. He is a very strong man. He does not let anything really get to him. But his one weakness though is his stepsister in the film, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar. So what I'm feeling here is, as you're moving along your healing journey, or if you're helping somebody move along their healing journey, this person or you experiencing a lot of temptation, people who don't care if you heal, people that are, without, labeling them, still in this like 3D way of thinking, and trying to reel you back into that. Because if you look very closely on the Emperor card here, see how he has those two, it's like he's wearing like some type of animal fur around his shoulders, but it has like claws on him. This is reminding me of the scene in Cruel Intentions where his stepsister, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar, is like he's literally sitting in a chair just like this, and she comes up and she puts her arms around him and she's like, "You've got to do this for me in this way, and you'll have the best reputation in school if you do this. Have you won our bet yet?" Because that's what they do. After he gets back from his therapy session, he talks about how he doesn't have a challenge, like he can't be challenged by anybody. And he throws down this magazine of 17 and it has Reese Witherspoon on the front. Her name is Annette in the film, and she talks about how she wrote this article about how she's saving herself for marriage and that she loves her parents, and she's just like this epitome of, the divine feminine. And he goes, "This is a challenge." And so he sets a bet with his stepsister that he can sleep with her, that he can get her to sleep with him. And in the process, Catherine's just like all like seductive towards him. And the bet that they have is that he will get to sleep with Catherine if he wins the bet. And if Catherine wins, then she gets to take his car. She wins his car. So they have this bet going. But what Sebastian does not realize is the effect that Annette is going to have on him. She is the Queen of Cups in this reading here. And what she does is, she is the person in this film that gets him to feel his emotions. So for some of you, I feel like you are the divine feminine helping this masculine to feel his emotions, to process that pain, showing him that unconditional love. And what I'm seeing from the film is Brian Phillippe's character Sebastian. Annette asks him to go to a nursing home. And he goes there and he's still like his, hateful self. He's making fun of all of the elderly people in this nursing home. And when they're in the car later, after it's all said and done, Annette said, "Did you really have fun doing that?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, they're cool people." And she goes, "Come on now." And he goes, "Okay, I hate charity." And she goes, "You know what your problem is?" She goes, "You take things way too seriously." And he goes, "I do not." And then she starts making all these funny faces in the car, and she actually gets him to laugh. She gets genuine emotion out of him in that moment. And nobody had done that for him before. That's what he was missing. He was missing the emotion. He was missing the joyful part. And after this happens, he starts to feel his emotions on a whole different level because he falls in love with Annette. She has completely torn down his walls, and it actually sends him into a 10 of Cups in reverse energy. So I am feeling like we have strong masculine energy here and a strong feminine. The feminine coming in with unconditional love to help heal the masculine from this very toxic shadow aspect. but the masculine also still kind of being tempted by other 3D type of energies, other people who haven't done the healing yet because they're not at that place on their journey yet. But these temptations, they are serving as lessons on your journey to show you how far you've come. Because if you're able to resist that, then that shows you where you're at on your soul's journey. And even if you do slip up, it's you're a human being, but these patterns, they do create a lot of pain and suffering, especially if other people are tied karmically to us. So that's something to think in mind as well. But I feel like there is a divine feminine here who has really brought the emotions out of a masculine energy. And with the 10 of Cups in reverse, it has just like completely brought all of these emotions out, brought out laughter, brought out sadness, because it gets to the point where Annette is ready to give herself intimately to Sebastian. And she locks the door, they start kissing in this room, and he looks at her, and because he has completely fallen in love with her, in that moment he didn't want to hurt her. He didn't want to win the bet and hurt her. So he goes, "I'm sorry, I can't do this." And he leaves her on the bed by herself. And he goes into this other room where there's this mirror, and he's staring at himself in the mirror, and he's literally crying. And you can see he's fighting the emotion. He doesn't want to feel these emotions. And as he's looking at himself in the mirror, he says, "Get it together, you pussy." Like he's like, just trying to stay in that masculine energy rather than letting his feminine side come in with the emotions, with the vulnerability that Annette was bringing out of him. He had genuinely fallen in love. So I'm feeling a lot of emotional turmoil due to those feelings coming up, seeing oneself for the first time with this new set of eyes. Whatever is coming up, feel that pain. Let it move through you, okay? Because holding on to it, it will keep certain patterns going. It will keep the temptations easier to keep going with. It will make them harder to resist if you hold on to the pain. Letting the pain move through you, it also grounds you in a sense, and it helps you let go of what no longer serves you within in yourself. Okay. And I'm also hearing a lot of prayers like praying to God, praying to angels. Thank you for helping me through this, God. Like really wanting to break this toxic pattern once and for all. And there's so much compassion to be had for that. Somebody who wants to change. And that is what this film is all about. This is about a player womanizer who wants that help but isn't receiving the help he needs. And then all the temptations he goes through. And then finally meets the love of his life, the one who brings the emotions out of him. And he does change for that purpose. He completely does a 180. Because love did it. So if you have been praying to break this toxic pattern, if you have been praying for healing, Spirit is saying to look at it in a different perspective, because we have the key to prayer is to forget what I think I need. So Spirit is saying what you think you need in this moment, forget what you think you need, surrender. I am also picking up on some addiction here as well, because there is a scene with prayer and like contemplation in the film. I'm being shown Sarah Michelle Gellar, her character. She actually wears this necklace around her neck that is a cross, and she actually says, "Whenever I'm going through something difficult, I call on Jesus and he helps me make it through." And it's kind of a mockery to what she's saying she believes in that moment, because after there's no one around, she opens up the necklace and there's cocaine inside, and she actually does the drugs from her necklace in the film. So I am picking up on some addiction to help suppress those emotions that are coming up from the Ten of Cups in reverse. Whether this is in the form of, sugar, a drug of some sort, alcohol. What those do, it suppresses the pain, but it only does it temporarily. So I'm just bringing the messages as they're coming through, and I'm not bringing through any judgment at all here, because I know how hard it is to process these difficult emotions. But Spirit is saying to forget what it is you think you need. So in terms of like the addiction, Spirit is saying, for if you can forget that you need that addiction, if you can forget that you need something outside of yourself, that everything you need is within you. If you can remember that, that will truly help. It will help you process your pain, or will help manifest people in your life when you can stop in that moment, meditate, or set the intention um, to bring someone in that can truly help you in the way that you're looking for right now. But Spirit is saying to forget what you think you need to help heal the pain, and just surrender, and to just feel it, to allow yourself to let it move through you, because the way out is through. Okay, we have, there is nothing sexier than my authentic truth. And I'm actually seeing why Sebastian was drawn to Reese Witherspoon in this film. She was who she was. She did not take his shit at all in this film. She was sexy. She was herself. She didn't put up with his crap. She stated very proud and loud in this magazine article that she was a virgin and she was happy to be who she was. And then when she meets Sebastian, he like comes at her with all of his charming little player games. And there's like this, I'm being shown the scene where they're in this swimming pool. He goes, "You're smart, you're beautiful, you're determined, you're everything I'd want in a girl." And she picks up on his BS and she goes, "Are you serious? You're smart, you're beautiful, you're determined." She goes, "You're never going to get anywhere with me with, words like that." And he's just sitting there like baffled, because usually like his charm works on people. It was not working on her. And he found that sexy because she wasn't needy. She wasn't clinging to him. She was who she was. And he was drawn to her authenticity. So there's a message coming through for some of you here that when you are your authentic self, there is nothing sexier than that. Next card we have, "In any moment I can surrender to the powerful presence of love through prayer, contemplation, and stillness." So yeah, just another message of surrendering to love, contemplation, and stillness. And the last card says, "I recognize that I have chosen fear, and I choose again. I choose love." So, spoiler of the film here that goes along with this message. Sebastian finally does surrender. So this is what Spirit is saying, surrender right now. Because he wins Annette over. They are intimate together. They are showing their love for one another. And Sebastian has done a complete 180 with his emotions and his feelings. And when he goes back to Catherine, she's like, I'm assuming you came here to make arrangements. And he's just like, no, because at this point, he didn't want her anymore. He had the love of his life. And Catherine gets very jealous and she threatens his reputation. And she basically says, if you go forward with pursuing this relationship, you're going to destroy not only your reputation, but you're going to destroy hers as well. And he thinks about this, and he doesn't want anything harmful to happen to Annette. So he makes the decision to break up with her. In this moment, he chooses fear. So Where in your situation right now have you chosen fear? Because Spirit is saying that it was a choice and you can choose again. You can choose love. And this is what happened even in the film. Even though Ryan Phillippe's character Sebastian chose fear, he chose to break up with Annette. He chose to let go of the one person that he truly loved because Catherine threatened his reputation. And after she tells him this, she's like, I think it's the saddest thing I've ever heard. Like, she's so cruel. She's like this cruel, feminine energy in this film, and she plays this role so well. Like, Sarah Michelle Gellar in this film, phenomenal. But Sebastian chose fear. But then, because this film is about how anybody can change, that it's not too late to choose love, he does choose love. And he actually had been journaling out all of his conquests, everything that he had went through, the bet with Catherine. He wrote it all out in a journal and he gives it to Annette. He says, I'm sorry. He goes, I'm lost without you. He chooses love, even though he had previously chosen fear. So, wherever you have chosen fear, it's not too late to choose love. It was not too late for Sebastian to do the same in the film. And because of that, it just goes to show you that anybody can change, that there's nobody too far gone with anything to make the choice of love over fear, because love will always cast out the presence of fear. And I'm also being drawn to the song from the film, Bittersweet Symphony. And in that song, there's a lyric that says, I can change, I can change, I can change. And yes, anybody can change. And that is what awakening is all about. Looking at our darkest, deepest wounds and shining a light on those and accepting who we are for everything that we've done and being willing to heal and look at those things. And I feel that's the strongest energy coming through this reading, pile number 3. That is all that I am seeing. Those are your messages from the 1999 film Cruel Intentions, which another message just came through. I'm being drawn to the year 1999, 999. This is a cycle that is completing. Take that as it resonates. That's angel number 999. This cycle is completing, whatever it is. Healing is taking place here, all right? And I'm seeing also with the title Cruel Intentions, the intentions are shifting to more ideal ones. So that is all that I am seeing, pile number 3. Those are your messages from the 1999 film Cruel Intentions. If your reading resonated, please drop a comment down below. Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.